you're running a gigantic company, and we're going to talk about the complexity and acquisition, but about $12 billion in revenue or something like that.
It's a quiet period, so I have to be careful what I say.
Yeah. Roughly, plus minus $1 billion. Number 264 on Fortune 500, and how many employees?
Close to 70,000.
70,000, impressive. But yet, when I look at your mission, it's very simple. Help customer communicate more effectively. So what exactly, how do you do that? What exactly does it mean?
Sure. That's the foundation of us. I mean, if we don't do that, then I don't want to be the person that didn't make 151 years. That would be that'd be a bad legacy to leave behind. But that's our foundation as far as how we can communicate with customers. We all today, and in our industry, we have had constant disruption since day one, since it started, since Gutenberg decided to build a little technology that he built. There has been constant disruption, whether it's the telephone, the telegraph, the radio, the TV, these electronic devices. So we live in an industry that constantly does that. Our customers, though, are also today having more disruption than ever before with communications. It was simple for companies to reach out to their customers. They had physical form, and in some cases, only less than a decade ago, maybe a little bit longer, they had some electronic form. Today, there is all the social media ways they can go ahead and communicate with the customer. There's, physical that has to take place. What we've got to be able to do is make sure that we can help our customers have a conversation with their customer. We've got to make sure that we have interaction for our customers with their customers. If we can help our customers create brand loyalty, I guarantee you it will lead to higher dollars for them from a revenue standpoint, which will obviously lead to our customers having success. The whole key to all this is synchronizing the message in this crazy omni-channel world that we live in. You do not want to have we want to make sure that our customer's message isn't diluted because we've sent it out in a different format than what they've seen on one of the other devices. So you have to make sure that you synchronize the communications. You have to have a connected experience for the end consumer there. And what we've seen over the last couple of years, when you've been able to do that, it's resulted in good things. Now, we've gone ahead and we've gone now to, we create, we design, we produce, we distribute, we analyze. Some customers want one of those, and fortunately, there's some customers for us that want all of those to be done. So I think as we think about it, and as you sit here too, and you're involved in it, how can you synchronize that message so that your customer's customer has more of an interaction with them?
So, we're a few minutes in the conversation, and you said the word customers so many times. I want to ask you, so clearly your focus and the company focus, but I want to ask you, your customers are so diverse. You have Harley Quinn novels, you have Honda, and then you have some, EFI is your customer, we use you for the filing and so on. And then, you have small companies. How do you handle such a diversity in customers?
First of all, I want to tell you, we think we can do more with you.
Okay. I know, I just went into this. By the way, we can do more with you, too.
Yeah, look, we will do high school graduation invitations to servicing multinational conglomerates. That's the beauty of the platform that we built. It gives our customers the flexibility to go whichever direction they want to go. Every customer to us is precious. And you'll hear me talk about customers, you'll hear me talk about synchronization, you'll hear me talk about brand loyalty a lot. Those things for our customers, if you're the local dry cleaner in your community, okay, directories have changed, obviously, over the last number of years. How am I going to get my word out? It's going to be physical with some ink on paper, some printed, but it's also going to be electronic. So how do I do that? What is the best way? What is the best way for Mrs. Smith or Mr. Jones? How can I reach out to them? And then from a exponential type of formula, how do I do that on a scale for everyone that's out there? So I think for us, good communications is the key to our customers' success. And again, I go back to how can we create, how can we manage, how can we produce, distribute, and analyze for you. It's always fun to see, when you're dealing with your customers, you can tell them, hey, this is why somebody bought something. For us, on the flip side, we also want to be able to tell people why they didn't buy and what can we do to help you understand why that customer didn't buy. So can we offer, they've been on your website for 2 minutes and they've looked at something. Let's say it's a canoe for whatever reason or whatever it may be. But okay, you've offered them the discount already. Now, pretty much distribution costs are next to zero. But is there something else that through the algorithms that you can go ahead and say, hey, this clicks, so now if I offer this, will they go ahead and buy? Somebody who comes back to your site a number of times, they're interested. What is it that's going to get them over the hurdle to go ahead and hit that button to buy? And physical content drives you to an electronic device. I mean, it was great to see yesterday, I'm sure most of you saw, JCPenney and what Mike did as far as bringing back their catalog. No matter what, who does it, it means a lot for the industry. The words that were used yesterday are key in the fact that sales went down because we didn't reach out in physical form. They're not worried about somebody taking that catalog and going into brick and mortar. What they want to see is take that catalog. I reached out to you, so I know you have it. And what do you do with it? You can go to your phone now. You can go to an electronic device. But again, to us, that's, no matter what the size is, having a good communication plan is going to help you maybe do better than what your competitor is doing.
Okay. So I want to push a little bit on this point, talk about good communication plan and multi-channel and all of that, but you're not the only one offering that, and there's a lot of competition. And
we're not?
Sometimes there's competition. It's just make life more complex. It's driving me crazy. How do you differentiate Donnelley when you go to a customer? What do you tell them?
Yeah, what I would say, first of all, there is still tons of competition that we have. So we cannot rest at all. And I like to say we're the biggest, largest, smallest communication service company out there. And if we rest, we definitely will not be. But I think what you can do today is, again, it comes back to synchronizing the message across all the channels. It comes back to personalization. There is no one today in the mailing community or in the digital community that is sending something out that says, "Dear ma'am" or "Dear sir." If they are, they're not long for the world. If they're public, short their stock. Those days are over. So the technology has allowed us to go ahead, as you know, mine all this data for you and know what you're doing. So the personalization is key to making sure that takes place. Innovation. What is it from a solution standpoint that you could bring forward as you think about things? For us, I think those are the items to where, the 3 items to where we've got to go ahead and be able to bring forward to make happen.
Okay. So in all this multi-channel personalization, which, by the way, we all totally agree, there's still this concern, the notion about the death of print and printing, going away. How do you think about that?
I started a couple years ago, which some days I'm glad I did, some days I wish I didn't, but at some event they said, I quoted Mark Twain about when he said, my death has been greatly exaggerated. Printing's death has been greatly exaggerated. It's not print, it's print and digital. It's not digital or print, it's digital and print. It's print and digital. Again, I think as you look out into, just in this venue that we're in, for those of you who stayed, if you look in your room, look at all the things that are there that are physical print that take place. They're not going away. Are there some long-run products that are going to come shorter runs, have less volume to them? Sure. It's evolving. It's going to continue to evolve. But print is here. Print is going to be a core to that communication plan. Again, I need to reach out to you so that I know that you've got it. I don't know where you are from a communication standpoint. I don't know yet whether you're on your iPad, your electronic device, your phone, some people, in some cases, there's a TV monitor. So what best way can I get there? At least I know that something's going to show up in your house, in your apartment, at your job, that you're going to open. I used to call the mailbox sort of like a Cracker Jack box. There's always a prize in it. Some days the prize isn't too good, but there's always a prize in it. Some days you may have bills that you don't want to see. But all of that comes together, comes to you in such a way to where it's not going away. In the United States, I think if you exclude newspapers now, it's a $110 billion industry. We've got well less than 10% of that. So it's huge marketplace still just in here. I think if you go worldwide, the numbers and don't quote me on it, but it's somewhere in the $400 billion range. So I do think that the combination, though, is key. It cannot just be one. Just as if there's not just one omni-channel message. It's omni-channel. It's across the board. You've got to be able to go ahead and serve those customers with all of those products and services as you think. You want a connected experience. You want somebody to go ahead and have that causes them to have a conversation about it. Print is shareable. It's tangible. It's shareable. As you go through it. And I think we've got an example of a car manufacturer who was kind enough to tell us that their budget was really low. They didn't have a lot to spend, and we had to figure out with them how we were going to do a special project. Through augmented reality, what we did was we showed them that said, hey, with that physical page, the car wasn't going to be ready to be in the showroom, but they wanted to show their customers that, look, this is what's coming, and get them excited about it. So you were able to, the salespeople, when they had them in there, were able to take their electronic device, go over the page, and what we were able to do through technology or augmented reality specifically is go ahead and show the car moving off the page, show the inside of the car, have the sound of the vroom take place, and for nothing else, that customer left that dealership saying, hey, I want to come back and see this. And they went out and talked to people about it. So those are the things, again, to where we believe that the combination of print and digital is key to the success.
That's actually a very good, very interesting example. By the way, we have a car here, Tesla, which is the most advanced as far as high tech, and they use it to wrap it up to make it look better. And again, it's the print technology that make it look better. It's not anything else. So it's definitely we relate to this. We did a little research on you. We didn't hack into your email or anything like that, all public information. But we found out you made a quote somewhere, which maybe that's what you meant on the print. But I want to read it and see what you meant when you said it. You said somewhere, print is the doorway to digital, and digital is the doorway to print.
Yes.
Is that?
Yeah, that's similar to what I said. I mean, there's so many technologies out there right now, whether it's, and we all know QR code started off, but still, near-field communication, QR codes, the printed electronics, sensor labels, all of this comes to play when you think about how digital can impact print and how print can impact digital. Today, for us, as you think about sensor labels, there's so many different ways that things are taking place out in the marketplace for that label. And who would ever think that a label is going to be something that you want to get excited over? But the data that can be transmitted now from that labels is critical to company success. All of us are hearing the new and latest, greatest catchphrase of the industrial industry of things. What is that going to mean, and how is that going to drive things, and what's going to take place? But I do think that as you think about, whether it's temperature-based, shock and tilt, whether you think about from a healthcare standpoint, what it might mean for people as it relates to their diabetes, blood pressure. There's many ways that, again, I think our products are going to add value not only to our customers, but to our customers' customers to take place. So there's still so many different avenues that I don't think any of us have really fully grasp as far as what can take place. And it's all with the printed process that we talk about. So I do think print is the doorway to digital, and digital is the doorway to print. Big believer in, as we look at printed electronics down the road, that there will be a marketplace there along the supply chain that is going to add value to our customer's customer. And we've got to make sure that we're prepared to take part in that.
Very good. So I want to talk about a different type of digital, which is digital printing. What's your take on that? Obviously, if I care a lot about that, it's offset to digital. Is this really happening, and where do you see that?
No, I think as some of you who follow us have seen, we've made a lot of investments in the digital arena, both from a third-party standpoint as well as our own internal proprietary investments that we've made. You want to be able to bring your customer to market sooner. You want to be able to, for them, you're going to have shorter runs. You're going to have customers that want to have just in time. Digital allows you to do many of those things. For our customers to be able to reduce their cost and increase their return on their investment is critical to their success, as I've talked about, I think, today on some of those things. So to have that in there, digital is going to play a main role. And I don't think any of you are sitting out there shocked by hearing that. But it's what can you do because of that technology for the customer? Now, those people who decide that they're going to stay away from that, I do think they run the risk of being left behind as the industry continues to evolve. The evolution into digital is something that we've been with for a while. And again, I think when you can variabilize every single character on a page, wow, the impact that that's going to have out there for people, to market to people, to try to go ahead and from a healthcare standpoint, talk to people. So we think there's a lot of opportunities in that area that are going to take place and that are taking place today.
Yeah. We totally agree with you. It was really well said. And you are using our ViewTech technology and Fiery technologies. Thank you very much for the third party. I appreciate selecting us on this, and we'll continue to try to do good work for you on this. I want to switch to another thing that you alluded to, which is big data. And I know we both share the same belief in the importance of data in our decision making and so on. So tell me more about your philosophy and how you view that.
I think that's a good line for a GPS. Good problem to solve.
I thought you were going where Benny went yesterday. No, okay.
I did my homework as well.
Good.
There is so much data that's out there today that's both structured and unstructured. Companies that are availing themselves to taking advantage of that have a leg up on their competitors. We think that the platform that we've built today, as it presently stands, allows our customers to take advantage of that. Now the big thing there is everybody has the data. More and more people are mining the data. But what happens, so what? You mine the data. Good. What are you going to do? And I think that's where there's sort of a roadblock that's taking place. People are all excited that they have the data, but then how are they going to put it into action? And where we think we come in, we have teams of people that can analyze the data. So again, we're not just ink on paper. Those days are, we're more than what you think we are when it comes to that. And having those capabilities to go back to our customer and say, hey, here's what X, Y, and Z group did. Here's how this group acts. Here's how this individual acts. Those particular algorithms that can come out of that are pretty impactful to a company's bottom line. So you have to, as you think about it and sit out there, and again, whatever size of customer that you have, they all have this data. People talk about statements as, oh, who cares, they're statements. Those statements are precious. Those monthly bills that you get, whether they're utility bills, credit card bills, whether they're employee benefit plans, the amount of data that's captured on those statements says so much about your lifestyle, your habits, and what you enjoy. And we believe that as we look, how can we go ahead and help our customers because obviously it's our customers' data, but how can we go ahead and play a role there to help our customers, again, mine that data? Now I would call that structured data. There's unstructured data that may say, when did you go on a website? When did you hit certain things? What's your Twitter feed? What are you talking about? And again, you get close to, in the world that we're in today with privacy and things are taking place, there's interesting lines that are drawn there as far as what you can go ahead and avail yourself to and what you, right now, you can't. And I would like to think that the United States and the global consumer at this stage understands a lot better that whenever they use their credit card, whenever they use, go online to look at something, there are thousands of people behind that are capturing that data and looking at it to see. So the personal, again, comes back to personalization. What can I do, and how can I make your life easier? Because I have that data. I know what you like. I know what you don't like. How can I? Because there's so much clutter today with the consumer. The consumer is being, just bombarded in every different angle with all sorts of messages. Again, the good companies that are doing it have a consistent message that gets to the right place at the right time in the right manner. But how can we help those other customers that don't have that aspect to it?
Did you say the U.S. or the U.S. government using big data? Because we love the NSA, and we all pay taxes in the most honest way. Let me switch another time.
He said that, I did not.
Yeah. No, we love the NSA. Anyway, workflow, another maybe self-serving, but what do you think about the importance of workflow in printing?
I mean, just by the attendance that you have here, that answers the question.
Right.
It's paramount to be able to run an operation. Things are so siloed today. Maybe our organization is the only one, but the communication's siloed. Marketing doesn't talk to operations. Operations doesn't talk to sales. How can you have that workflow to where it's completely streamlined so that everyone is on the same page at the same time and has the same amount of information? Information is power. If you have that data, if you have that information across your organization, will your team be able to make a better decision as far as whatever campaign they're doing or whatever they're reaching out to talk to their customers about? So we think the technology that's out there today, and again, not being self-serving, but EFI, a lot of our background, a lot of our backbone, our infrastructure comes from this technology that we're able to go ahead and avail ourselves to so that we can help our customers with. But if you don't have that today, that is going to be a tough sled as you go ahead and try to compete in the marketplace today. I think we see it as something where it's a differentiator, and at the same time, to us, it's all about cost and return. Can I lower the cost? I mean, we all know this is an industry of pennies, nickels, and dimes. It's not as if our margins are all, way out here. It's that, I would have looked pretty smart in the year 1998 if I was doing this then. When we go back and look, they would have said, hey, he's pretty intelligent. Compared to today where you fight for everything that you can go ahead and get out there. And the workflows are a way or a tool that you can use to go ahead and combat yourself against competition.
As we say, GPS, get productive soon. So I want to talk to you about another trend that's actually related to my guest speaker tomorrow morning. It's 3D printing. Is this something that Donnelley thinks about it? Is this a short-term, long-term, any term in your future?
Sure, we do. You have to think about everything. No matter what comes out there, you've got to pay attention to it. 3D printing for us at this stage, we're paying attention to, but I would tell you that we're not running full speed ahead. I do think in the next decade, and obviously the speaker tomorrow has a heck of a lot more knowledge on this than I do. But as we look at it, and given who we are and how our customers fit in, we look at it as more of a right now consumer-based. And I know some of you may say, hey, Quinlan, there's major manufacturers that are using 3D printing for their tools to replace inventory. Agreed. But I think as we think about it, we'd rather see us spend a lot more time with printed electronics, with specialty labels, with sensor labels, with different types of packaging. Right now, we think that's where we could probably bring more value to our customers. As you go through it and think about, 3D compared to anything else, you realize we've got some pretty big iron that sits on our floor. Can that iron, as demand for certain products decreases, can we use it for other things? And one of the things we think about is textiles. Can we, given cost of transportation, given the technology that's taken place, could we get into the textile marketplace and in the United States and be there? We're very, very good at distribution. We understand logistics. The hand stitching is a lot less now because of the technology improvements. And again, we've got this sunk cost with this equipment, which with minor revisions, could that go ahead and be used for us to play there? Right. Now, I'm sure as this message gets out, and I know what I say here gets heard, across the world in 5 minutes, somebody's going to say, hey, R.R. Donnelley's going to start printing T-shirts. No, not yet. But at some point in time, look, can you do drapes? Can you do rugs? That's the beauty, again, about technology, to where, the old Chinese proverb, may you live in interesting times. We, for sure, live in interesting times. There's when the history books look back and to see all the technology that changed as rapid as it did, and I'm sure the generations before us probably were amazed by fax machines and the big cell phones that we used to walk around with. But every single day, there's something that's being built, something that's being sold from a technology standpoint that is going to disrupt our lifestyles. And, can you avail yourselves to it? What can you do as you go through it?
Very interesting. And by the way, nothing we say here go out in 5 minutes. It's actually 5 seconds. Tweet. You see 50 people on the phone, but it's great. People like to hear outside of it what you're saying. So I guess that's not a great segue to my next topic, which is maybe something a little more sensitive, and we hope you can tell us secrets because we are among small friends here, is the M&A strategy of Donnelley. You've done a few acquisitions, I heard. Quabico, Bantav, and Hoffman. And then last year, despite all your history, you surprised everybody by buying Consolidated Graphics. So first of all, is acquisition continue to be part of your strategy? How do you think about it? And how do you decide who to buy and who not to buy?
And everything we say is going to stay in this room?
Everything is in this room. What's happened in Vegas, stay somewhere.
I met your general counsel today, and my general counsel, she will beat the living daylights out of me if there'll be a brick that will hit my head if I say something that I shouldn't say. Look, our industry, there's two ways to grow in our industry, as you know. It's organic and it's through acquisitions. If somebody has figured out a third one, please let me know. But we think, we look to do acquisitions, and we call it the 3 C's. You'd be surprised I'll say first, but it's about the customer first, capacity, and cost. And some of those properties that you talked about, some of them had all 3 of those characteristics. Some of them might only had 1. But the lead there is the customer. And what is that particular property that we're looking at do for our customers? Back in 2007, when you talked about Banta, von Hoffman, and Perry Judd, we probably acquired, close to $2 billion of top line back there within 90 days. So I do not recommend that for anybody, for somebody who's lived through it. But again, we have the team in place. We have the quote-unquote famous, a playbook to put in place. But it worked because you follow those disciplines. You've not seen us buy a washing machine company, and there's nothing against washing machine companies, but we are going to stick to our knitting as it relates to communications. But we don't have, unfortunately, an endless source of resources from a pocketbook or a wallet standpoint. So there's guardrails as we go through this, and our guardrails that we've put on ourselves is we want to make sure that we're between 2.25 and 7.5 times, 2 2.75 times leveraged on a debt to EBITDA basis. And we are getting there, even with the acquisition of Consolidated and Esselte. And I think my background, as some of you know, was at a company that was called World Color back in the day, that we were probably close to 5-6 times leverage, and nobody thought about it. That was fine. Today you do that, and you'll have people knocking on your door quickly. So we've got the team, Dan Lieb and Dan Knotts, from a operation, balance sheet, running the company standpoint, have done a great job with our balance sheet. We have no, what I'll call, big hurdles from a financing standpoint to get over the next number of years. Every one of our debt maturities are, right now around less than half of our free cash flow that we're going to generate. Our credit facility goes out to 2019 now. All of those things allow you to open up the store on a daily basis and not worry about that. When we go on RFPs, we don't have customers asking us, how's your financial status? That's key. It wasn't that long ago, 24, 36 months ago, that was the first question that a lot of our customers were asking everyone in the industry, where are you? I think the type of acquisition now has changed too. From the standpoint, a couple of years ago, there were many companies in our industry in distress. And what were they going to do? Now, I would tell you, that's not so much the case. I think the people that are still out there in our industry have been prudent with their balance sheets as well. And it's really about what is the capability that you have that may help us with our other capabilities. We also, from outside of an acquisition standpoint, we started something called Workbench. I was smart enough to know that I didn't go to MIT, I didn't go to Harvard or any of those type of institutions. I wish I could have got in, but I didn't. But we were smart enough to go talk to them and just see what it was, how were you going ahead and handling the technology that was taking place. And what we realized, we had gone ahead and purchased a company called Helium. We purchased 8 Touches, Nimblefish. We did a number of acquisitions from a technology standpoint, capability standpoint, that has allowed us to serve our customers better. But we also said at the same time, look, we're not, even at our size, we don't know what we're missing. What else is out there that we're missing? So what we decided to do was we got some very smart people to work with us, to come aboard with us, Jonathan Lair and Hugo van Vuren, to start this company called Workbench. And there, you would think, okay, it's an incubator, and Donnelley's the 800-pound gorilla. And we're not, which was tough for me, as some of you know me, my management style. I like to be involved in, what is it we're going to get? And what they convinced me was, look, if you allow this particular workspace to be an area where companies that have revenue, they're out of their garage, they have financing, but what they don't have is the Rolodex that we have. So they don't have access to those customers, but we provide that. If we could set up an atmosphere and a culture to where they will pick, and it's not about games, it's not about Angry Birds, and nothing against Angry Birds, but it's not about that. It's about enterprise solutions. And have those enterprise solutions to where there's a competition to come and sit on the floors, and we may want to invest in it. We don't have to. They don't have to let us. We may want to go ahead and bring their product or capability onto our platform, which we've done, and it's a much more economical way to do it. Or we may want to share that with our customers, to bring our customers in. And we've done that, and our customers, a number of our customers have had success with that. What do we get out of it? Number one, our customer is going to be able to perform better. Hopefully, they'll take into account that we've opened that door for them. And number two, we get the reputation that, again, we're more than what you think we are. We're not just ink on paper. We're involved in the enterprise solutions that are out there and taking place. And quite frankly, where you're located, the good people out in the valley are aware of it and starting to come out and see us. So that's a long-winded answer about acquisitions that I know I did not get in trouble for.
I think my conclusion is you said yes. You're going to continue to do acquisitions. That's what I read into. But it was very interesting. You know, you said about being involved, and you know, we had breakfast a little bit ago, and you mentioned that after acquisition, you actually go to every facility and explain to them how important is the facility to the future of Donnelley.
Yeah, I think again, perception becomes reality. So here we are, you're this $12 billion company, you've got 70,000 employees, you're in 40 countries, 14 different time zones. What do you care about a $5 million facility? And that could be the furthest thing from the truth. I think as all of you know, and you would agree, there are no sales. The $10 million sales, the $5 million sales, they're very, very rare. Again, it goes back to if I can get 10,000 sales, $10,000 worth of revenue, that's where it's at. You know, and that's why we want to go around. And in fairness, because if this does get out, I haven't seen all the facilities that we did acquire last year yet. I've made good progress, but the team is also going around. But that's the key to us, and the key to our success too, is to make sure that each one of those facilities know how important they are to the overall success of the company. And on the flip side, when you think about cost, because there are rumors that I look at cost a little bit, that might be true. When you think about cost, if you've got that many facilities, what's $5,000 more a month that I'm paying on something? You know, if that's a customer, take it. But what would that matter? But when you add it all up, it means something, and our shareholders and investors mean something to them. And I think it's not easy, but you know, we have a rule at Donnelley. I try to make sure it happens, but emails, communications, electronic communications cannot be greater than 25 words. If they're greater than 25 words, you are required to pick up the telephone. Now, for my kids, that's, what are you kidding me? Talk on a phone? So much gets lost in translation in the electronic devices. And I think as you run your companies and you see things out there, having that physical contact with another employee is critical. You know, having your CFO, your COO, your general counsel, your head of sales show up, you know, your CIO, show up at a $5 million, $10 million facility and spend half a day, there's a message there. There's a message there of how important you are, and there's also you learn. I was out in Arizona last week and got to see our facility out there, and it was, you know, you walk in and people are in awe that, you know, you're actually coming out to spend time. But the learnings that you have when you leave there help the entire platform out. And if I ever throw anybody under the bus because they asked me a question they shouldn't have asked, nobody will ever speak to me again. So it's sort of a good balancing act to where, look, if you ask me something that I can't answer, I've got to get back to you. But if you ask me something, a tough question, if I yell at you or do something, that word gets around too, just as quickly as these Twitter feeds get around, and nobody's going to ever say anything to me again. So, and they don't let me out much. So when I get out, I want to make sure I can still continue to get out.
You know, EFI have done an acquisition or two also in the past, and just listening to the last 5 minutes, you sound exactly like me, more eloquent without the accent, but that was exactly, you know, I really enjoyed the answer. I need to tape it and send it instead of me. So I have one more question about Donnelley, then I'm going to switch a little bit to you personally. Just something that in the research came interesting. You actually made the shift from printed books to e-books. If you can tell us a little bit more, because that's interesting.
Yeah, well, I would tell you, I would say we evolved. You know, Libre Digital, which some of you know, was a capability that we brought on board to the platform. I look at the numbers that are coming out so far for 14, and it's great to see that the physical book is starting to come back. You know, I think the e-books have sort of leveled off. Again, they're not going away. You know, we're not putting our head in the sand and say we don't want to do those. It's another form of communication that's taken place that we have to make sure we're a part of. But to see the physical content be out there, and again, every day I get up and I wish that J.K. Rowling would bring back Harry Potter, or that, you know, teenage girls with vampires, another book gets written like that, because those books they fly off the shelf. So To think about 14, and I would tell you, look, there were some great bestsellers, but there was really, I think what we call in the industry runners, there weren't a lot. So to see the one-color market come back as well as it did, again, I think bodes well for us as we go through things. So I think that's something to where, you got to continue to play, continue to be involved with. The digital aspect of it is going to be crucial. The inventory obsolescence is key. None of us want to see another Borders happen. Yeah. Shelf space is critical to that product line. And when you think about some of the larger e-commerce companies that are out there, the interest that they have in books I think is great. No matter how it gets out there, as long as it gets out there. That's why, again, you go back. Speaking to the United States right now, literacy is key along those lines. How we educate our children, how they grow up, what they see. What is the right way to learn? I don't think anybody knows yet. Maybe electronic formats are good. We deal with that up in Canada, where we help out with testing. Is physical content the best way for someone to learn? At the end of the day, I think it will be both that will come together and will be there. So being able to have, again, electronic distribution of content along with physical distribution of content bodes well for you as a supplier in that marketplace.
Hey, Tom, you may be the most busy person in our industry. You're definitely one of the most busiest person in the industry. We can be more thankful for you coming here to our convention and sharing with everybody. It was fascinating, enlightening, great to hear you. Thank you very much for doing it. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Thank you.